Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit. And with me today, I have Mr. Dick Matthews from Pardus FX. How are you doing, Mr. Matthews?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the World Cup. I was a bit disappointed that we didn't give the USA their comeuppance, but hey, they're looking okay.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting afternoon. I know you guys and gals are watching this a day later, but you just peeled me away from the Ecuador Senegal match, and it was a really exciting match, and I'm sure it is going to continue to be one. But it's a good World Cup. Yeah. It's always fun to watch, right?
Yeah, exactly. USA Iran. That should be a real meeting of friendly neighbors.
Yeah, that. Let's hope that only thing that flies around in the air is a football. So let's hope for that. Anyway, let's talk about the markets. We've got, it's kind of a tricky area. We've seen this, sell off in the dollar. The dollar seems like it's consolidating, but we got a couple of key events coming this week. Yeah. What's on your radar, and how are you feeling about the markets right now?
Well, we've got a big old week in terms of data. We've got PCE non-farm on Friday, which I suspect is going to be quite healthy in non-farm, around sort of 225, 230, something like that. I think people are calling it. Whether the layoffs in big tech are in there yet, I don't know. And whether they're disguised because of Christmas hiring, Thanksgiving hiring. It's always a funny number, this number, isn't it? Because it's distorted a bit. We've got GDP tomorrow, PCE. To me, the big one is Jay Powell talking, Jay Powell talking.
Yeah.
Look at the FOMC minutes last week. It looked like it was pretty split, that he was almost in the minority of wanting to tighten as hard as he could. And I think that's helped the dollar sell-off initially. Whether he continues to be in the minority will be interesting. I think he'll come out fighting all guns blazing, as I said earlier in the week, on inflation and talk a really tough game, because it doesn't really help his book, particularly if assets start improving.
You talk about it right now, and I'm going to pull up a chart of the dollar really quick, just so everybody can see it. I mean, the dollar's holding and hugging this 200-day moving average.
Yeah,
I have a hard time being short while you're trading above that 200-day moving average. And if you're right, and you think that Powell's going to stick to his guns, and he's talking tomorrow at the so by the time you guys and gals are watching this, you're probably watching it just before, just after. He talks at the Brookings Institute. You think he's going to stay relatively hawkish at this point?
I think he is, yeah. I think he's made his bed, he's going to lie in it. I mean, there were a couple of hawkish comments yesterday, but he's definitely in the minority now. But it doesn't help. He sees, if the stock market's rallying, everyone goes, yeah, great, everything's good again, and queuing up for Thanksgiving gifts, and Black Friday looked like it's been a massive success. I think he's going to come out and talk tough. What's interesting to me is something which I've always brought up to believe. Two things actually I've brought up to believe: don't fight the Fed, and the bond market's always right. And looking at the bond market now, and looking at 2s, 10s, which I'm not sure whether you can pull up.
Well, I'll pull up the 10s right now for you really quick.
Yeah,
there you go.
The differential between the two is trading something like a negative 60 or 70 points, might be a little bit more now since I last looked at it, which is a historic differential. And sure as eggs are eggs, every time 2s, 10s trade at a negative discount, you're going to see a recession, right? And they actually even did it just before COVID came, which is amazing, because there wasn't a recession on the horizon. They traded at a discount and the recession came. I think it's signaling one hell of a recession is on the horizon, and that may just temper Powell a little bit. One or two people starting to look at that. So I don't know. I still don't want to get short of the dollar.
So, but okay. So let's talk this out a little bit. In a recessionary environment, and let's call it, not exclusive to the U.S., right? I mean,
absolutely not.
The COVID response globally was liquidity across the board, and you think that now that liquidity is being sucked out of the market, we're going to see more of a recession globally. Now, if that's the case, and yes, Jay Powell needs to maybe be a little bit more hesitant. Won't other central banks be hesitant? Therefore, you could continue to be bullish the dollar, or does does the market really sell dollars in a global recessionary environment, knowing that the U.S. is going to get hit really hard? What are your thoughts there?
Definitely, we're going to get a recession in the UK and in Europe, without a doubt. They're already starting to say, "Oh, inflation's beaten, inflation's beaten." It ain't. You just go to the supermarket, certainly in the UK, and you see that the inflation isn't beaten. I just find it hard to sell the dollar. I know, I get what you're saying. I think in a general recession, I think that Europe and the UK will be hit harder than the US. So I'd still like to buy the dollar.
All right. Well, that's fair. Now, let's talk really quick. I'm going to get your predictions. Do you have your dice, or your maybe one of those magic 8 balls around?
Dice.
So we got a jobs report on Friday. You said that the jobs report you think is going to be pretty sticky. I tend to agree with you. I don't think that we're going to start to see the jobs market show much weakness until we're in the first quarter of 2023. It's my own personal opinion, but what are you specifically, Dick, going to be watching for on Friday? Are you going to be watching the headline number? Are you going to be watching average hourly earnings? Are you going to be looking at the unemployment rate? What is it?
I think the headline number isn't that important, first off. Be watching the hourly rate, and actually also watching the JOLTS figure tonight. I love the name of that, JOLTS figure, job openings, which I think is at 1.9 to 1 at the moment, the ratio between unemployment and job openings. It's still a huge number of jobs out there for people to look for. So that's one thing I'll be watching. And what I think is interesting has happened in the States has happened over here is a lot of people have left the workforce and they've just said, "Hey, I've had enough. I like sitting at home all day."
They're trading Bitcoin, right? Just kidding.
Yeah, they'll be back at work next week then.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well,
and whether that's being caused by long COVID, they're saying in the UK some of it might be down to waiting lists to get operations. I actually just think it's lazy buggeritis, that people just can't be asked to go to work anymore.
Lazy buggeritis.
Impact the numbers a little bit. So I think there'd be an okay jobs report. The PCE number is the important number to watch out for. The other thing that I've been watching, I'm a massive swimmer. I love to try and swim every day. I swim in the English Channel, and it's dropped down very, very quickly in the last week. For those who bother, it's dropped from 13 degrees centigrade down to 10 degrees centigrade, which is a huge weekly drop. And it's not normally this cold until February next year, until February. So it's unseasonably cold. I think there's a really cold winter snap coming. I've seen something talk about polar vortexes over Europe. That will impact in energy prices in Europe. And you could start see people starting to go, "Oh, I'm not sure about this inflation. I'm not sure it's going to stop." Now, energy is going to start rising again. So that's one thing I'm keeping an eye out on is the weather.
Well, give me and the rest of the Trader Summit community something to chew on. What's your best idea right at this moment to position yourself for everything you've talked about?
I'd have a bet on Brazil to win the World Cup.
Oh, come on. Give me something better to chew on. Man, I'm not going to get paid doing that. I'd actually be short of the dollar for a little while longer, but I've been watching it really, really closely, and I think it's just going to turn again. There's all sorts of funny things at play there. I think there's some repatriation earlier funds into the UK from dividends, from stocks. People have had a great run on equities. They'll be returning funds to the UK. So I'll be watching on that. I think if you see 124.45 on cable, which is about 20 cents higher than it seems only 6 weeks ago or something, or end of September, it's unbelievable. I'd be looking to get shorted cable at that level. So that's the number I'm looking at, 124.45. All right. Well, let's see if we can see 124.45. That's a far ways away, but in this market, and that's one of the reasons why we love the FX, right? The volatility is back.
Yeah. What was it? 103 at the end of September? What was it?
It's amazing. So Dick, tell us a little bit about what you do at Pardus FX. How do you help, investors and institutions navigate around this massive amount of volatility we're seeing?
Yeah, this wild market. We try and take out all the black arts out of the market and try and explain it. and hold their hand and just, you know, calm everything down and look at it in a very calm, collected manner, and not worry about the volatility. Because if you're doing a transaction, you just want to worry about the now, not what could have been and what might be. You just want to worry about what happens now. And we hold the hands of some high net worths and some SMEs and going through the vagaries of the currency markets.
Well, Dick, thank you very much for spending your time here at Traders Summit with our community. And if you guys and gals like this exclusive content, make sure you give them a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel down below so you don't miss any of it. Mr. Matthews, good to see you. And I know we're going to try to consistently make this, you know, once a week thing again. And I can't wait for that.
Cool. Have a good week. Cheers now.
Have a great week. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.